Welcome back to Bonanza Disc Golf and to part 2 of our first video in the new Kid in the Bag series, where we take a look at a lineup of discs from an underrepresented company or someone that not a lot of people have thrown before and try to shoot a hot round with them at a local course. We're at 65th Infantry Veterans Disc Golf Course right here in Orlando, Florida, which would be my home 18 course if I still lived where I did before the van. And we're actually looking at Gateway discs. Go check out the front 9 real quick because I'm about to spoil some stuff for you. But we're trying to shoot 9 down here, and we had a lot of putting woes on the front because we were putting with the Wizard, and I think the Magic is actually gonna be the putter that I end up putting with, even though I really don't like the plastic. Eesh, look at that. But the feel of it is much better in my opinion. I think we figured out these discs enough to get to our final score because we were 3 down, so we need 6 more on this back. We had putts from everything, so ideally we can start out with a nice birdie here and take our 9 down.
Hey, coffee shop editor Anthony here. The way this is gonna work is there's gonna be 3 levels. The first is that if I can't get my goal, 1 disc is gonna be given away. If I can't get within 3 strokes of my goal, so in this case 6 down or better, then we're gonna have to give 2 discs away. And if I can't beat par, then we're gonna have to get 3 discs away. But the way the giveaways are gonna work here is that I'm going to give you the whole lineup of discs, or at least my favorite ones from the lineup, in a community poll at the end of the series. If I don't win, then you guys will be able to vote on the discs that you want given away. The top results will go into a bag, and once that bag has 5 discs in it from this series, I'll give it away to somebody, likely over on the Instagram, maybe over on YouTube if I can figure out how to do that.
So we're starting out here with a 450-foot par 4. Go ahead and stop that down for you. And the shot that I've really been liking on this, because we need something to hit this gap, probably want it to turn a little bit and then come back because I've been throwing a lot more hyzers than anhyzers as I've been working on my form. Probably gonna be the Journey. It's kind of been a workhorse. Oh, there's only 1 disc I haven't actually thrown yet, which is the Spirit. I'm gonna make myself throw that before the end of the video, but it's a very overstable 12.404. And since there is water on that left side that we don't want to get into, I think we're actually gonna go with the Journey. That is a way to start. I've also been throwing a little higher. Shoot, Anthony. This was gonna be like, this is a gimme birdie. It's 450 foot as a par 4. I mean, maybe if I got 70 feet, I might be able to get a look in, but I might have to actually try to juice up on a flex shot here. I'm gonna try to force over. I have not been good at throwing anhyzers at all, but I'm gonna try with the Illusion here. This is kind of the destroyer-like disc. It feels like a bomber. Honestly, even more so than the Journey. The Journey kind of, it says 6 glide, but I think it's more of a 5 glide. Stable. Wow, that thing, I think I finally actually threw one relatively flat and that thing went the distance. All right, well that looked like it went way farther than it did. Yeah, I'm still only throwing like 360. Gosh, I gotta figure out how to speed this up. I just don't wanna revert to my old crappy form, but I was getting literally 60 more feet consistently out of it. Ugh. That's it. Fine. All right, it's a par. Yeah, there's about 440 feet in from that tree. I thought I had juiced it, but a lot more network, a lot more field work. I mean, it's good to document. It's good to document when you get worse in order to get better. I'm just waiting on the getting better part. All right, hole 11. We need to start getting some birdies. 300 feet right over there. Looks like probably just a turnover with the element is probably the best shot, but we could also throw the forehand. We just got to worry about it skipping, and we haven't thrown the Spirit yet. If I actually get it over, this could be a really good shot because when it comes back out of getting over, it shouldn't skip as much. Don't throw it so inside, dude. I don't think I could have thrown that any more to the right and kept it in bounds. You gotta make 1. No. It's all right, easy layup. Tell you what though, 3 to 5 down still isn't a bad score. I just like getting 9. When you're working with new discs and new form and struggling, it's not great, but we can make it happen. 7 holes, we can do this. We can do this. Alrighty, here we are. Hole 12 looks like 500 and some foot par 4 again, all the way down there. Honestly, here, I'm kind of between the Journey and the Spear. I don't want to go over the path. I don't want to go in the water, so I need to be in the fairway. I think I might try the Spear again because it is slightly downhill, and I just don't think we need to go as hard as the Journey. I also don't even know if I could throw the Journey farther than the Spear right now because, I mean, I'm normally throwing fairways up to 380, and if I'm only throwing these 360, then what's the freaking point? Sit down. Sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down. Oh, thank God I'm throwing short. That's the other benefit of throwing a 9-speed instead of 11 is it's not gonna glide or push as far on that. Like if I threw that exact same shot with the Journey, that's going in the water. Oh my gosh, that is, oh. I don't think I could throw a worse shot than that. I don't even need to throw that shot. That is such a bad shot. That is very unfortunate, but there is a Journey in there now. that I don't even know where it went. Looks like we don't have the journey from here on out, which should be fine because I genuinely think that I'm throwing the spear probably farther than the journey because I've got a lot of arm speed work to do. All right. So here's the question. Is that surrounded by water? Because that looks like land. That's unfortunate, but I think we have to play that out of bounds. I thought all this was safe, this line. And there's also crocs, or there's also alligators here, so that sucks. We're just gonna go elements into the green, nice and simple. Perfect. Yeah, that's definitely surrounded by water. I think this is one of the first times that I've actually parked a basket, and it was after an OB stroke, so you gotta love saving par. We can get these 6, get 9 down, but I'd say 5 is the number I would be happy with, I think. Alrighty, this hole looks like it should definitely be gettable. It only says 250 in. The element, honestly, has kind of been my go-to. I think we're just gonna go prophecy, though. A little bit wider. I think so far, though, elements, like a straight mid-range is one of my favorite discs anyways, so I think not 100% relying on that could be good. The prophecy kind of has a weird feeling here because it's like flat and then it's got like this curve and then a big bead, so it kind of feels like if you put your finger in there, it's kind of like a little nook, but I think a little short. Yeah, a lot too much hyzer. I'm throwing up instead of forward, honestly, a lot recently. Oh, that's a lot better. Okay, I learned that. Also, that's the element. Hey, so you think it'd be cool if we just like took the element instead, the one that's under the pan of the basket that I knew I should have thrown, but didn't. This is where I need to get out of my head for these videos. Like, I'm gonna throw them all and I'll explain them all, especially at the end. Like, so I don't need to throw every disc for every shot. I don't need to mix it up. I just need to throw what's best for that shot. And I think I've not been doing that. I've just been trying to throw like what's best for a video instead of what's best for the round. Oh, gosh, I cannot make a putt. That thing is just so floppy. It inspires no confidence. And that thing I always release right because of that stupid bead. A little floppy boy. Element is, oh my gosh. All right, on to 14. All right, hole 14 looks like we're just on the other side of that bush. Probably can't really see it through the bush, but it's like barely there. I think I'm gonna go blade here. 9503, just the spike hyzer. I will say, like, the Devil Hawk I think is a pretty special mold. The Elements is so good out of the box. I like the spear, but not a lot of these. I think this would be similar to what I found from every other Bag It or Minute, every other company that I've ever thrown, is there's a lot of discs that are good, that if you want what they do, you can get them, but a lot of companies make similar ones. Gateway has been around for a while and they do a lot of manufacturing for a lot of companies. So if you're buying from those companies, a lot of it is probably just Gateway plastic, which is good because these plastics feel good. They feel tacky. It feels like Champion plastic, feel like it's probably gonna like hit and sit more than like big skips, which I think has been true today. I've not been getting a lot of skips. That blade is a lot more flip up than a 9503 disc should. Of course, when I say it doesn't skip, it skips down the hill away from being parked. I noticed that the first time I threw it, and I thought it was maybe a mistake. On the front 9, I threw it on a par 4, and then I missed the putt because I suck at putting. Spoiler. But it flipped up a bit. I thought it was just gonna, at 9503, just ride straight, which I think makes that a really good forehand disc I found. Because if you throw it hard and straight, it's gonna hold and then finish. Maybe more like a Thunderbird style, like 9502. Oh, that's probably how I should think about it. More Thunderbird than that one. I think that 5 glide plays more than you would think on the blade, which makes it, like, that's a solid mold there. I like that a lot. I haven't thrown it as much as I should. I could probably throw that on most of this course and that would have been really good. So that and the element are probably, if I need to do 2 disc round, I would find a different putter or even just use the element as a putter. And then, sorry all you wizard people. And then I would probably take the blade and the element. Those are really good discs. Oh yeah, I think it hit like right here. Skipped slightly. Really good shot. Oh, I should have probably put with the putter. That was scary, a little lazy, but blade, got my cosign. All right, this might be another blade shot. Maybe a spirit shot, depending on how frisky I'm feeling. I'll say what, 4 down at a new course anytime is not bad. This is definitely a more gettable course than that, but I need to think about that, especially as I'm making these form changes. All right, this one's 276, dead ahead of us there. You can probably see it just to the right. Looks like probably just a straight forehand, maybe a little flex forehand. I think the spirit might skip too much, but there's not a lot of skip as it is. I could also just throw the elements on a backhand, or maybe even the spear on a backhand, but I think spear might be a little too much. I think right now I'm honestly trusting this blade on a forehand, so. Not quite left enough. Hit it. Oh. Since we're playing that river, I'm calling that safe. That's how I've been playing that the whole round. Only one other time, but probably should be OB. I really should have turned a little bit more. That got all the distance to get there. All right, kind of surprising, honestly, a little bit too much distance. That would have gone out here, but since I've been playing just T-pad rules and T-pad doesn't say anything, so we're just gonna putt from here. Honestly, the way that I'm putting with these putters, I just cannot get a grip with them. Honestly, if I just freaking took it from where it went out, if we are playing that OB, same score anyways, they're both pars. Man, I'm really disappointed. I know Gateway makes some solid putters. Maybe it's just the plastics that I got sent. I just cannot get into these putters at all. All right, hole 16, honestly, probably a little out of my reach right now since I can't remember how to throw Annie. We can get 6 down, yeah. 370 feet straight ahead of us. Since I don't have my journey anymore and I've been hyzer flipping everything, I think we're gonna have to go the illusion and actually see if I can remember how to force it over a bit. Definitely need to force it over. My hyzer is only 340 feet right now. All right, pretty much right on that 330, 340 mark, but we got this putt with the silly floppy putter. I honestly kind of want to go to the wizard and just, I'm gonna go back to the wizard and just aim it inside, but I'm a little disappointed that I didn't get a stiffer plastic magic. I think I'd really like that if it was stiffer plastic. Good putt. All right, probably the best putter out of the bunch, the Spirit here. Haven't missed the Spirit putt yet. 2 holes. We can get 2 birdies. All right, here we are, hole 17. Basket is right behind that tree, right in the middle. You might be able to barely see it. We do have a big spike hyzer play here, or a big forehand straight, but I don't know if this Prophecy is torque resistant enough. It seems flippier than it seems more like an EMAC Truth at 5502 than like what maybe if it was more like a 5302 or 5402, I would feel comfortable forehanding it because then it'd be more like a Pyro. But I think it acts more like an EMAC Truth. I just do not want to try to throw any turnovers right now because I don't think I can. And I don't think the Devil Hawk can reach there because I think it's over 200 feet and this thing just can't. This is such a good approach disc, honestly. I might play around with this, just keeping it because it's fun to run it because it's so low speed or glide. I'm kind of thinking blade on this big hyzer. That's so dumb, Anthony. Maybe I should practice spike hyzers before I just throw them. I do want to see if the Prophecy does have enough forehand torque resistance or if I can be touchy enough with it. Okay, it's kind of weak because I was a little scared, but I think it does have some torque resistance, so I probably could have thrown that shot. All right, so this was a really good idea if I was Eagle McMahon or knew how to throw like Eagle McMahon, but I don't. So I think we're actually gonna have to go Devil Hawk on a little flex forehand line, try to throw it in. These are all such bad shots. Oh my gosh. That was, Maybe I should have just done that instead, huh? Oh, I really like that disc. I think right now my Felon fits that slot. But before we go over like how I think all these discs fly, including the Journey, rest in peace, which I think might have been one of my favorite discs. That might have been one that I said I would put in my bag, but this one might. I like the flexiness and that I can throw these shorter flex forehands then with like a zone or a Jokery or a Razor Claw or something like that. I can just throw little slight flexes and they won't go far past the basket. And I do actually like the Spirit, even though there haven't been great holes to show it on. And it's hard when I'm not really an anti-flex player right now. As I'm developing this form, I really prefer those type of lines because I feel like with my size and stature, I can get a little bit more out of them, but I need to figure out how to keep my hips up and move through that movement correctly. It's a little bit it's not as stiff as I'd like, but I like this slot a lot. All right, hole 18 looks like the kind of hole that you want a couple of times to practice because it's right around 300 feet straight to that basket. Yes, it's 312. So I'm thinking, honestly, you could go up this backhand, but I don't see any Mandos anywhere. So I might have to just try to go big hyzer forehand. I don't know if I have 350 feet of forehand power, but we're gonna have to try it because that's probably the only chance I have for birdieing since I really don't know how this fairway shapes. And it looks like you need to flip something up there. So we're gonna wait for these guys to move. While we wait for them to move, actually, I'll just let you guys know. I think the Illusion is a really solid disc. I really like this plastic, the platinum plastic, because it feels more starry than their diamond or hyper diamond does. It feels like it wants to bomb a little bit more than those other plastics do. This just feels like it wants to go farther, which is why I'm gonna throw this. Like I already said, I think the Journey would be a potential to make my bag, but I really don't think it, at least in that plastic, had the 6 glide like it said. I was surprised that it was going as far as the Illusion was. Like it just wasn't, I thought it would be going farther than it did. And it just kind of would check up around 360, 370. A lot of this might be my new form and my new power levels, but power levels, that sounds silly. Prophecy I think is fun. It's very flat, which I like. I don't know really why I would throw this over an Element in most cases though, except for maybe those forehands, if it is able to actually hold that torque. The spear I might play around with because I like having a flippier disc, which isn't like too flippy. I think this is probably true to 9.6 -2.1. I just never really threw it forward enough. I threw it pretty nose up a lot of times, which helped the speed control, but also gave us that out of bounds stroke, unfortunately. Wizard, I think, is fine. I think I got a birdie with it. I think throwing, it's pretty stable. I think putting is pretty stable, but it's a little deep for my hands. And then the Element, I think, is probably one of my favorite discs in their lineup. I just like a straight mid-range, and this just is what you want a straight mid-range to be. You put it on a line, it's gonna hold that line, it's gonna have a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of flex out if you throw it on some Anheuser. Really solid disc. The Spirit here, I will play around with. I might try just a big flexing forehand on this line as well, just because that's fun. The Devil Hawk, I really like, especially I like this Noah 5 Ash signature. It's kind of fun, but it's really, I might play around with this as well, because it's kind of like a good complement to a Berg, where it gets a little bit more flex in and out, whereas the Berg will just kind of hold and then flatten out. This one will get a little flex, but it doesn't want to go far past the basket at all either. The Blade, I think, is really good, probably closer to a Thunderbird than a Firebird. 9503 is very interesting flight numbers. Normally you see either 9403, 9304, 9502, and I think this probably isn't quite that 9503, maybe 95 -13, so it might be similar to like your Escapes or Undertaker. No, because it's not as, but it doesn't have that flip up. It's kind of, this is an interesting disc. If you want like a Firebird, but you want it to go a little farther than a Firebird and you have a slower arm speed than me, this might be a really good disc for you. Magic, I think, is fine. Throwing is pretty understable. I liked it a little bit more for throwing and for off shots in this plastic, but it's just so, I don't like this plastic for putting at all, even though I prefer the feel of it. So if I had the same plastic as the Wizard in that, I'd be really happy. And that's it. Hopefully we can make a good shot here and not embarrass myself on the last hole. Gotta be honest, I've embarrassed myself enough already. You guys should all just unsubscribe. I don't have the juice. I do not at all. I think I also didn't follow through well enough, but we'll try the big flex line. That's it. Oh, there's a tree there. I think that's inside the circle though. I'm not sure if I can 100% say that this was a super successful first showing of New Kid in the Bag. It's interesting seeing them as an older company who's kind of set, hey, these are the molds, these are the plastics, we're doing some new stuff, but we've had these molds for 30 years, 25 years, compared to some of the newer companies who are just coming out. But there are definitely some discs in this lineup that would be worth checking out. There also are a lot more discs that I don't have here that they have, so there might be a follow-up to this, but I'll say this was that flex play with the Spirit. Really good shot. Oh, it would have been a walking birdie. Tapping in our 4 down. I don't know if that's even respectable. It's not bad. If you want to check out the first round where we kind of learned these discs and figured out how to learn discs on the course, check it out right up here. Honestly, better than the back 9, which is really stupid because the back 9 had easier holes. Guys, subscribe to the channel. If you have watched that first video, check out my last Bag It or Bin It. I'm about to go film another one of those real fast. A lot more New Kid in the Bag to come. I'm also excited for Project 100 to actually start being good at disc golf again because I feel very bad right now. Okay, love you.